Welcome back to the Forex Fortress. Day number, who knows what day it is, doesn't matter. It's Thursday. It's Thursday the 22nd of October, and we got plenty to talk about. I want to follow up on yesterday's short-term time frame analysis. Else is leaving for the hour, and I want to follow up on this morning's short-term analysis on Bitcoin as well. Maybe even take a quick look at traditional markets. And with that said, it's going to be nice and quick today. And as always, starting off with Dixie for the general bias on all the major US dollar pairings. We did hit our target to the downside yesterday, right around this horizontal at about $92.5. Now bouncing up on the short-term time frames, as you would expect. But if we go down to the lower term timeframes like the 4-hour and the hourly right here, I would be looking for this bounce to sort of peter out. And yes, I do think that it will be heading lower on the daily, somewhere back down around this 92, a little bit less than 92 and a quarter-ish region, anywhere between about 92 even and 92.15. And I would be looking for a greater bounce right around there. Of course, this is the area that is marking off our higher lows coming in from January 2018 and more recently in September of 2020. Long terms, like very long term, like macro, like multiple years down the road, still massively bullish on this. But short term, yeah, basically sideways and down is the name of the game. So that is going to set in a slight bullish bias for our major US dollar pairings. Of course, it doesn't mean like everything's going to be going up, as you've seen. Aussie dollar being the perennial fucking loser, which we'll focus on first. And man, I'm just fucking, I would hate to trade this thing because I would have terrible calls on this one. As yesterday, I believe I said yesterday that I just wasn't all that confident on this one. I'd feel the same thing today. I'm just not that confident on this one. Do I think that it's going to, it's more likely to go up or up or down here? Essentially, probably a little more down. So this is a pretty damn shitty chart, but realistically, this one's definitely been the perennial laggard in comparison to all of the major, of all the other major US dollar pairings. In fact, I'm curious if this would make a little more sense if we flip this around. Yeah, I would be looking for a little bit of downside action on the inverted chart. So in that case, probably looking for a little bit of a upside move here, somewhere back around about 71.5, anywhere between there, about 71. What is that number exactly? 71.7.5. So 71.5 to 71.7.5 region. Yes, I would be looking for another drive up there and probably another lower high being put in there as well. But this one is definitely one of the weakest as far as the major pairings go. Moving on to CAD dollar, what do we see? Actually, this one, what did we say on this one yesterday? I completely forget. I believe that we said we had a target of about 76.5 cents. We just about got there yesterday. Just a few, just like a quarter. No, what would that even be? Like a tenth of a cent? Yeah, something like that. Lower. And what are we looking for now? Well, we did get the pullback all the way down to the 21, although I didn't really talk about that yesterday. What would I be looking at from here? Probably another move to the upside, probably coming back up towards about 76.17, 76.20-ish region, of which I would look for a short-term pullback there as well. Judging the daily, though, is there anything obvious here? Maybe on the weekly as well. It's the weekly that I feel a lot more confident on with a lot of these major US dollar pairings. Like going back to Aussie dollar right here, this one's obviously very bearish long-term, no doubt about that, but short-term, medium term, sideways and a little bit of up, I suppose. Whereas CAD dollar right here, what would we say? Well, still kind of putting in lower highs. And as far as the macro goes, this is an absolutely god-awful chart. And we even have our long-term declining highs going all the way back to 07 of October. So I don't really look for that to be reverted anytime soon. But as far as the lower term timeframes go, do we have another slight move to the upside once again, about 76.15 to 76.20-ish region? Maybe yes, but I would probably be looking for, and that's really just based off of what Dixie's doing right now. I'd actually be looking for this one over the next few days, likely to come back down and play around about 75.5 to 75.60-ish region, back down around here. What do we see on the daily? Yeah, daily's kind of, sideways and up, looking good. But again, I don't feel all that confident about this one, to be honest with you. And I want to be very transparent when I do feel that way because, that's just the fucking nature of the beast sometimes. Looking at euro pound right here, what would we see? Yeah, yesterday we were looking for another move back down towards this 90-ish cent region. I'd be sticking with that, or obviously that one got hit, but I'd actually be sticking with a little bit more downside with on this one, as we do see momentum also is starting to turn a little bit to the downside here. Daily RSI, kind of problematic, not super problematic, more neutral than anything, but a little bit more angle towards the downside as well. And yeah, I do think that this one will head towards a little bit south of about 89.5 cent region, of which I would be looking for a better bounce right there. Moving on to euro dollar, we were looking for 1.9 or somewhere around 119-ish yesterday. Did we get there? We got 118.8. Is close enough. No, I actually do think that this one will give another try to the upside here. I'm bullish on this one as long as it's closing dailies above 118 spot 20. And on the lower term timeframes, what do we see? A little bit of heaviness right here on the lower term timeframes. In fact, if I am looking at the lower term timeframes, I probably would be looking for that pullback first before further continuation on the daily. So short term, a little bit of downside here. Daily, though, still looking okay. And where would I look for short term? Probably back down around 117.85 region. Let's see what the hourly says as well. Yeah, hourly is kind of more angled towards the downside here too. Not feeling all that strongly about that one scene as it is getting closer and closer to Friday, and we're going to see the weekly closure soon. Basically, I'd be focusing on the daily and the weekly right here, of which both of them I'm essentially looking for another try to the upside. Weekly suggests back into the 119.5 region. Daily suggests about 119ish region, which you can kind of say that we did hit yesterday anyways. So fair enough. Looking at pound yen, what do we see? This is my favorite shitcoin to trade. We did hit our target from yesterday, run 137 and 80 cents. Now what? Well, still be bullish on the daily on this one, at least for now. Looking at the 4 hour right here, do we see any short-term downside as we do in many of the other ones? Yes, a little bit. If we go down to an hourly, perhaps another move back down and test around about 136.80. But again, same thing as with a lot of these guys. I keep the focus on the daily and weekly right now, as those are going to be the bigger ones. Weekly still massively bearish on the long term. So while I am suggesting a little bit of short-term upside here, short-term downside, and then maybe a bounce, or actually, you know what? Going back to the daily right here, I mean, this is very difficult right here. Is this one just going to peter out? Okay, this one really actually has thrown me for a trip here. Daily looks obviously bullish to me. Weekly looks very obviously bearish. What holds more weight? Weekly, of course. So yeah, I'd probably wait for that one. I think I'd just be waiting for Friday's closure. Of course, this is not financial advice, and this would be the furthest thing from financial advice because you're actually seeing me today be mostly undecided. Undecided. Anyways, moving on. What do we see with pound dollar? A little bit of short term down here as well. Probably looking for another move back down to about 130-ish region. What did we say on this one yesterday? We did say likely back up towards 131.5, and we got that actually. Not bad. All right, but a little bit of short term down here, maybe back down to about 130.5. However, daily still bullish. It's kind of reminiscent of some of the other ones that we looked at. Short term, I don't feel that confident on. Daily and weekly, yes, this one is looking like it wants to pop its head above here. But I would certainly wait for the weekly as far as the long term goes. As far as the daily goes, looks fine to me right here. Kind of already played out that short term downside of anything realistically. So do we see another swipe down here and then bounce up? I would likely be looking for that actually. What about yen dollar? Jesus Christ. Yeah, yesterday we did say a move back up to about 95.5 bucks. We got that move. I feel the same way about the one that we just looked at. I'm still looking for some upside on this one. This one actually looks still long term constructive. Weekly still bullish, daily's bullish. Short-term timeframes, I just don't feel strongly about here. In fact, I would almost go over and do this whole analysis over again and just say all of my short-term views on this is whack right now, which tells me not to be trading. Daily and weekly though seem to have a lot more clarity on the situation. So this one, yeah, daily still bullish, looking for a move, probably coming in next week, somewhere back around about 96.20ish region and perhaps beyond. Weekly, same sort of thing as well. What do we see underneath that? We got some Swiss franc dollar action right here. And yes, yesterday we were looking for a move back up to about 111-ish region, of which we got front ran by just a hair right here. Basically the same thing to say about this as many of the other ones. Probably short term, a little bit of downside. Maybe this one comes back down to like just below 110-ish region, like 109.90-ish region, anywhere between there and about 109.80-ish region. But I would be looking for a bounce. It's the daily and weekly that look a lot more obvious here. Do still like these as far as the long term goes, especially the weekly as it is right now. Any sort of a closure above 110.5 coming in tomorrow for Friday, and I'd be looking for new highs within this run. Again, long term, rather constructive here as much as a sideways currency can be. But yeah, fair enough. Anyways, let's go check out gold. How's gold doing right now? What do we see on gold? Weekly is a little bit under pressure, kind of similar to what we see actually on Mr. Beater in a lot of ways. Daily looks like it wants to push off. I probably would be looking for another move back up to about 1935-ish region, but you see me be just completely just lost in this one for the last week. Yeah, I did get yesterday's call right back up to 1930-ish region, but realistically this one is in a consolidation. It's getting very mature right here, and I would be looking for the resolution of this probably coming into next week. If I had to call it right now, yes, it likely does come to the upside, and I probably would be looking for a move back up to about 1960-ish region next week. But for right now, short term, probably popping back up to about 1935-ish region, of which on the very low term timeframes, do I feel confident on that? I don't feel confident at all on the low term timeframes here. If I'm looking at the low term time frames, actually, I'd be bearish on this one. I'd be bearish, looking for another move back down to about 1900 base. So fair enough. Could I summarize a lot of my thoughts on the on the currency markets, or sorry, on the Forex markets? This is basically short term, like very short term, 4-hour and hourly down, and then daily and weekly looking like a lot of the more strong ones have some upside. Yeah, pretty much, but I'd put a lot more emphasis on the daily and weekly there. What about Nasdaq right here? Looking for a little bit of upside, playing out some bullish divergence. Thank you for Caretakers RSI on this one, calling it out right there. Looking for a short-term move back up to about 11,750-ish region, and then play the game from there. What about daily? What about weekly? Daily sideways as fuck. What about weekly? I'm not really getting much from this right here. I do still think that we likely play out a move on the daily back down to about 11,350-ish region, but very, very short term, like I said, pop back up somewhere around 11,750-ish region and then come back after that. So short term, I actually feel a lot more confident about this one. Daily and weekly, I feel kind of the opposite of what I feel on Forex. I don't feel all that confident right now. I want to see what Friday closes at, because things do not look so obvious at the current moment in time. Now let's actually follow up on Bitcoin, or actually instead of following up on Bitcoin, let's first look at Mr. Beaterall, because that one's the more interesting one right now. Let's go over here to Bitstamp, and is breaking the current area, that 390-ish region, of which we spoke about on this morning's video. So that is going to initiate targets first and foremost to about 415-ish region, of which I'll mark it off right here. So I would be looking for this run to likely hit back into this region right here. Probably short-term pullback at the 1450-ish region, and then more long-term, governed on the on the daily, weekly. I'd actually be looking for a move, or actually let's go back to the weekly right around here. Yeah, weekly shows about 435-ish region. So I do like this one. I essentially do think that it's gonna, it's gonna break out to the upside here over time, and that will come with targets above 435 as well. But short term, yeah, 415, probably short term pullback there, and then continuation setting up for next week to about 435-ish region. And then we'll see if it wants to have the big break like Bitcoin, like its big old brother Bitcoin. And I'm basically bullish on this one as long as it's above its current breakout point right here at about 393, we'll call it, on a 4-hour total closure, by the way. Probably use a 2-hour as well, because this one is moving rather fast right now. And we can follow up on Bitcoin here too. We did say extremely short term, Bitcoin likely heading back up to about 13,000, but that I would not be too adamant, or sorry, I mean, we basically already seen that actually, because we did get up to, 12,983. So I would say that that's close enough in my opinion. But I'm very hesitant to look for further continuation off this level as it is right now. You can see that it has held 12,700 multiple times, even getting that quick wick to the downside and then moving to the upside in just the last 2 hours that we saw. But I do think that Bitcoin probably does put in another local high somewhere around that 1,300-ish mark, and we do play out a little bit of downside before the day ends. And I would still be looking anywhere around about 12.5 region to 12.550. And I would be looking for a bounce off that region. And that's not to say that Bitcoin's bearish, just a bit of a pullback here, and be looking for a bounce off that region and then come back tomorrow and see what we got. I mean, looking at the weekly, here's the real focus. The weekly's fucking good. That's all I'd say. That's really all that I have to say. I mean, it's kind of hard not to be looking at about 14,000 from here, to be quite honest with you. And I say that in a very hushed tone. Hopefully, no one's listening right now. Jesus, man, I really feel weird being like this gung ho bullish on Bitcoin as of recent times. I always feel like I need to, flatten it out and get more neutral. But I'm just looking at the time right now, and we're actually still below 15 minutes as well. That's good. But I mean, the hourly just closed literally at fucking 12,950. Jesus Christ, it's gonna get another try above 13,000. All right, so what happens if I'm wrong on this one? How will you know if I'm wrong? And to be looking for continuation of the upside first before a greater pullback. Basically, any sort of a 4-hour closure above 13,000 probably does it. To be fair, that is, I mean, this looks good, right? Fuck, man, should I really be looking for a pullback on this one? Probably not. Probably not right now. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, this one just doesn't want to stop, does it? Let's see. I want to go back to my secondary charts really, really quickly here. Let's go secondary right there. You can see all my options charts and everything else. Far as the 3-day goes, looks fine. What about the daily? Whoa, this looks rather different than what we saw this morning. Top side of the 200 band is actually 12,650-ish region. You could say that we definitely already tested that. You know what? I'm gonna be wrong about that straight up. This one's continuing onwards and upwards now. Looking at 12-hour, yeah, same thing. I'm okay. That's, yeah, straight up gonna be wrong about that one. I would only look for that pullback to 12.5 base if and only if If and only if this happens, we get either an hourly or 2-hour delta closure below 12.7. You're noticing that I'm using a lot lower time frames to judge these things. It's because it's these are very aggressive moves right now. For right now, probably be looking for another swipe of 13,000 even, although we're basically there. So that doesn't really help. Going to the 12-hour right here. If we do check out yesterday's high at 13,250, then I would be looking for the next major fib to be hit, which I believe, do I have on this chart? Yeah, I do have on this chart. It's 13,600-ish region. So there you go. That's kind of the next thing that I'd be looking for, I guess. Or some bearish divergence on, either a 2-hour or a 4-hour. Are we building on a 2-hour? We should be building on a 2-hour. Yeah, we'll be building it on a 2-hour, but right now we're playing out hidden bullish divergence. Motherfucker. Hey, stop. Stop this nonsense. You know what? I would go level by level here. Technically speaking, things are looking like they want to continue upwards and onwards here. The pullback has already been had, and I just had my numbers wrong this morning. I must have been looking at the wrong thing, because the top side of the 200 bands now is 12.6, and we basically already got down there. So I do consider that a test, and so far the test has been damn good. So fair enough. Do we head up to 13,600 first? I feel a little bit weird saying that, but I would feel a lot more confident saying that if we take out yesterday's high first. If that happens, 13,600, then pull back from there. But for right now, what would be a relevant range here? What would be a relevant range? I guess you could use this level right here, actually. 13,000 and about some odd change. 13,025 region. If we do start to close bi-hourly deltas above there, I'd be looking for a move into the lower 13,000s, like 13,250. If we take out 13,250 high from yesterday, extend that move another $400. For right now, would I be looking for a rejection off this level? I mean, that's what I should be doing. That's actually what I should be doing. But I suppose the right thing to be doing right now, though, is just playing the 12-hour and the daily on the 200 bands. Let me just double check on this. Okay. I'm on the wrong fucking time frame. That's why. Okay, that was a 12-hour. But what about the daily? Oh, the daily is actually better. Okay. Well, what do you say to that? I guess I have to be bullish here. All right, fuck it. Motherfucker. Motherfucker. All right, well, fair enough. You know what? I think I'm going to end it right there. I'd like to wish you the best once again. Take care, and until next time.